friends, welcome to another episode of the Knits and Burls podcast. My name is Annie and I'm coming to you from Katy, Texas, where I live with my husband and our 3 kiddos. If this is your first time, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here, and if you're returning, welcome back. It's been a little bit since I've recorded, slightly longer than I probably would have hoped for, so I have a lot to share today. But if you follow me over on Instagram, you will have seen that we are expecting another baby. So I felt like the first trimester, I was just kind of out of the game. I lost my knitting mojo, which I was fully expecting. That's happened with all of my pregnancies. So now that I am further into the pregnancy, I'm feeling a lot better, and the inspiration has definitely come back. So that's kind of an explanation for where I've been. And yeah, we're really excited, and now I'm very inspired and have been enjoying all of the knitting time that I know will suspend, once the baby arrives. At least it'll go down quite a bit for quite a while. So I'm trying to take advantage of all the time that I have right now and get as much knitting done as I can. So I wanted to address a couple of things, just that I've been contemplating in my head, talking about, that I've been thinking about. The first thing I wanted to talk about was that I wanted to apologize for not being very attentive on replying to your comments the last few months. I was a little nervous that was going to happen just in the first trimester. This first trimester was harder for me than my other ones, and so the comments just kind of got pushed to the back burner, and I was not diligent about replying, and I wanted to apologize for that, because one of the main reasons that I decided to do this podcast was to, develop a friendship with other knitting people around the world and create that dialogue. When I sit here with the video, it's very one way. It's just me speaking, but I really enjoy reading your comments, and I love the back and forth conversations that come from that. And when I didn't reply to the comments the last few months, I dropped the ball on that and I lost that communication. So I wanted to apologize for that and let you know that I'm going to try to get back to where I was and reply quickly, because I really do value all of your comments, and I enjoy hearing your insight about questions I ask, or all of your opinions, and I love to hear what you guys are working on. So please don't stop commenting, and just accept my apology for dropping the ball a little bit the last few months. Another thing I was wanting to talk about, I recently clicked back on one of my videos to find some sort of information, and an advertisement started playing, which I thought was so interesting because I don't monetize these videos. For those of you that don't know, because I'm really not very familiar with how YouTube works in that way, there are certain criteria that you have to meet in order to monetize or make money off of your videos, and I don't meet that criteria, so I was especially surprised when I clicked on the video and saw the advertisement. And I asked a couple of other friends that had watched the videos in the past, and they said that they too had watched advertisements to get to the video. So I just thought that was really interesting. From my understanding, and this might be totally wrong, I'm not sure, basically I think YouTube puts ads on your videos before you're able to monetize them to make sure that your audience is going to stay consistent, or something like that. I'm not, like I said, I'm not sure. Or I guess, so if you reach the point of being able to add ads to your videos, they don't want you to lose your audience all of a sudden. So instead, what they will do is add advertisements to the beginning of your videos before you're able to monetize off of them, so that they know you're not going to lose your audience. I hope that makes sense. really it's not important news at all. I mean, it has no effect on me. It has no effect on you. If you're sitting here watching this video, that means you sat through the ad and you still wanted to watch. So I just wanted to address that because I thought it was really interesting. I was kind of under the impression that if you had advertisements on your videos, that means that you were making money off of them. So I just found that really interesting, and I wanted to thank you for sitting through the ads and watching me talk about knitting. So yeah, those were just the couple of things I wanted to talk about, and today I have a lot of knitting to share with you. So I hope that you have a good refreshing beverage and some sort of craft to keep you company, and let's dive in. So like I mentioned earlier, I really kind of lost steam on my knitting at the beginning of this pregnancy, which consistently always happens for me. Thankfully I haven't really gotten overly sick with pregnancies. This one was definitely my hardest, but I get so tired that anything that requires extra energy, especially with 3 children already, it just kind of went out the window. But I'm feeling a lot better now. So I don't really have many finished objects to share with you, but I do have quite a few new works in progress. I did finish 2 things though. So the first being, I've shown you these in the past. I finished the other pair of socks for my son's birthday. So I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old son, and they absolutely love hand knit socks. And so I am knitting them birthday socks as well as Halloween and Christmas socks. So this is Knit Picks FELICI in the base jump colorway. And I so enjoyed working on these socks. I think I already had these ones completed, and then I went ahead and did these ones. So these should be for my 4-year-old. Yeah, they're a little bit shorter. And he's a pretty big 4-year-old, so, but his feet aren't much longer. You know, his feet are proportional to his body, but just I find it interesting to know stitch counts, especially because when I first started knitting for my sons, I was like, man, what stitch count do you go for little kids? So for my 4-year-old, I do 52 stitches, and then my 6-year-old, I do 56. And then this time I made them a little bit longer, so that hopefully they fit them next fall and winter. So yeah, not really much to say about that. The gray color, this was just a random mini skein I had in my stash. I'm pretty sure my friend Laura from the Back Porch Fiber Co., I'm pretty sure that she dyed this, and it may have just been, you know, one of those one-off experiments or something, because I don't remember buying this in a mini skein set from her, but I might have a while ago. I can't remember. But it worked so well with these colors. I couldn't really find a good red to go with it, and that's what I was initially thinking, but I feel like the gray, it just ties in well with the mood of these stripes. So yeah, those are complete, and I'm gonna hide them away. It's nice I have, like, this is my template for the other socks that I'm knitting for them, so I'm trying to keep those ones really secret. They definitely know about these. Hopefully they've forgotten about them by now, and they have no idea when they'll be getting them. I think my 6-year-old probably guesses that it'll be for his birthday, so if I can just leave them hidden for as long as possible, you know, it'll probably be forgotten about. So that was finished object number 1, and I only have one more. So this is the Purl SOHO Classic Cuffed Hat, I believe is what it's called. It's free on their website. I knit this green one years ago. It's a really great pattern, super simple, straightforward. I knit this when I mean 4 or 5 winters ago for one of my sons, and then the last like 3 winters I've been like, man, I really need to get hand knit hats for everyone in the family, and you know, just haven't prioritized it. So I really wanted to prioritize it this year. They're small, they're portable, they knit up really fast, so I feel like they're great to knit on in the summer. Especially here in Texas, it gets so hot that if I'm knitting outside with the kids, I want something really small and portable. So I've been enjoying the hats. This time I knit a dark blue one. I had this yarn in my stash already. Let me get it. It's called Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek Low Pill Fiber, and it's 100% acrylic. I can't remember. I got it from one of like the big box stores, either Michael's or Joann's or something like that. I know that the dark blue is called Navy, and these are both knit as the child size. I didn't do the baby size, and they fit my sons very well. And then, yeah, that's it. I cast on another one of those, which I'll show you later, for my daughter, and it'll be really nice. Everyone will have a hat this year, and I already have a hat knit for this baby that, you know, I had knit in the past for one of the other children, and it'll get recycled to this one. It's like it's a really pretty rusty orange. I believe it's in Madeline Tosh glazed pecan colorway, and it has a matching sweater with it. So I'll show you guys that later, maybe in a different episode, because it might be in my daughter's room and she's taking a nap. So yeah, those are all the finished objects I had for the last few months. I know nothing too exciting, but I have plenty of whips to share. So speaking of those classic cuffed hats by Purl SOHO, in one of my favorite bags, this is the Jenna Rose bag I got many years ago, and I've talked about it in the past. I purposely chose a dark colored bag because this is like my go everywhere with me kind of bag. It goes on the floorboard of my car, in my purse. It gets pretty rough, but I've never washed it, and it is in such great condition. So it has far surpassed my expectations. This is my daughter's hat. I'm also knitting hers the child size. I've tried the other two hats I've already finished on her, and they fit really well, so I feel like it's a fairly forgiving pattern size-wise. And she might have a large head, I'm not sure, so it fits her well. So I cast hers on with the same yarn, but this is the Fresh Lilac colorway, I believe. I've lost the tag, but I'm pretty sure it's the Fresh Lilac colorway. It's that or French Lilac. I'm not sure. Yeah, so this is it. It's a really simple pattern. I highly recommend this. It would make a great adult hat too. They have baby, child, and adult size. It's knit on size US 5 and then US 7, and you just knit straight until the decreases. So this is a really nice project to have for reading or waiting in the carpool pickup line, anything like that. That's what I've been using it for. On it, it has this really cute progress keeper. This is Simply Sarah Knits. She does polymer clay. She just actually opened up a website. She was on Etsy, and then she switched over to a website. So I know she has relaunched some of her collections and created new ones. But when I saw this on my little progress keeper dish that I have, I knew it would go perfect with this project. So yeah, that's been really fun. Nothing crazy to talk about it. Very simple, free pattern, tried and true, and it'll be nice. All of the children will have hats for the winter. So glad to knock that off my list. And since that pattern is, you know, so flexible, I feel like it will last them a long time, and that yarn is really durable. And it says low pill fiber, and yeah, it's definitely a testament to that, because I have never seen any pills on that yarn, on that green hat. Like I said, I've had it for 4 or 5 years and it looks in brand new condition. So that must be the acrylic. Yeah, so that's whip number 1. Whip number 2, these are my other son's next pair of socks. These are their Halloween socks. Oh, this yarn is so much fun. I'm really excited to show this. This is living in my Shop Knitting Nelly bag. I got this a while ago, and I know I showed it in the last episode. I know she's having quite a bit of medical problems right now, and so she was running a sale on her patterns the last time I recorded a video, and I had purchased quite a few of her patterns. And then now I think that quite a few makers over on Instagram are running a knit along for her, and so I have plans to join in on that, and I will show you what project I intend to cast on. But if you are able and willing to support her, I think now would be a great time to do that. She seems like a very wonderful person, and she is a beautiful maker. So I was very glad that I was able to get this bag, but I hope that her health improves quickly for her. I know that's really difficult, especially when you're a small business owner. I can't imagine. But inside of this bag, this is the Halloween socks that I'm knitting for my sons. Isn't this yarn so cool? This is PNW PURLS Co. I will put it up here. They have an Etsy shop, and this is in the Monster Mash colorway. Look how much fun this yarn is. And it is literally that vibrant. Like if you go over on their Etsy and look at the listing, it is as vibrant in person as it is in the listing. It looks like fluorescent neon lights. I don't know how she did this. And there's no bleeding, you know, there's no crossover. It's very solid colors with clean transitions. It's so much fun. I just cast these on not too long ago, maybe like 2 or 3 days ago, and they are basically knitting themselves. They are so much fun. I really hope that the boys love this. They haven't seen this at all, so I think it will be a really big surprise for them come Halloween. And yeah, they look like such fun colors to wear, especially for a little kid who loves bright colors. Okay, next whip. I only have 2 more actually to share. Those ones have been taking up a lot of my daytime knitting, I guess, you know, where I have the kids running around with me. Those 2 I pick up the most because they're just so simple. I'm just knitting in the round, go, go, go. And I've been having a lot of fun with it. In my last episode, I shared that I had joined a year-long yarn subscription with Jimmy Bean's Wool Co. to make the, let's see, Strata blanket. So it's like a year-long club, and then each month they send you a different color of yarn, and they also send a pattern for the blanket. So by the end of the year, you should have a complete blanket. I am definitely not going to meet that deadline. It is a lot of knitting, and the next project I'll share with you has been taking up a large chunk of my time. So this has been put on the back burner while I get the other project complete, and then I hope to pick this one up again. So let me show you. All I have is the January Club knit up, which is this really pretty gray. And then I finished the transition to go into February. I'll show you February's color. It's like this, what would you call that? Dusty purple, I guess. It's really interesting. These 2 yarns so far, you can probably see it. Like it's like a gradient almost. This is all just one color until this point. But, you know, it's dark and then light. So a little surprising, but I think it's fun, and I think it goes really well because it looks like it'll do that again. It'll go light again. And then this is actually, let's see, so that's January, February. This is March's colorway. really pretty, what would you call that, like mint green, I think. So it'll go from this to this. And then I've received April's as well. And then probably in the next week or two, I'll also get January. What month is it? May. I'll get May's color, which I'm curious what it is. This is my favorite color so far, for sure. It is this really light pink, almost like a seashell color. Like if you picked a seashell up from the beach, this is what this reminds me of. So I'm really looking forward to picking this blanket up again. It's so much fun to knit on. It's just the rows get longer and longer and longer, and obviously more time consuming. So I will get back to it. I don't know if I'll be able to complete it in a year, but I hope to. It'll just depend on how much I can probably catch up on before this baby comes. And then I could probably finish the year with keeping up with it. So we will see. I have high hopes for what I can complete before this little one joins us. Honestly, the majority of what I want to knit on are all things for my kids. I wrote a list of everything I want to try to finish before this one comes, and 98% of it is for my children. Well, maybe a little bit less than that. I basically want to knit for my kids, and then I also really want to knit tiny decor for our house. I've been wanting to do that for years, like the little, oh, here's an example, the Fall Harvest Charm set by Barrett Wool Co. I can't remember the designer's name. Is it Susan B. Anderson? I'll put a picture here of what that looks like. I've been wanting to knit that for years and have it displayed during the fall. I want to finish the Mr. and Mrs. Claus clothesline. I want to do all those tiny trinkets that I could put around the house during the holidays, and I think that would be so enchanting and charming for the kids. So I really want to try to get those done this year if possible. I think it would be really fun to work on, and they're tiny, so you would think it wouldn't take too long, but we'll see. We'll see how much time I actually end up getting and can push forward on those projects. But this next project is completely for me, and I am so excited about it. I signed up to be a test knitter for the Bluebird box. Is it just Bluebird box? I'm pretty sure. I think that's her handle name. Her name's Anna, and she's over on Instagram and YouTube. She's a wonderful designer. She has such an amazing aesthetic that I've really admired, and I've been following her for a long time, but she recently started a podcast, and I feel like that really was able to shine light on her designs, and that's when I started following her more intently. I noticed her Instagram more. But she recently put out a testing call for the Linux pullover. It's this really pretty textured, oversized, boxy fit, almost like a woolly sweatshirt is what it feels like I'm knitting on. And, you know, with the next a year and a half to 2 years of my body fluctuating a lot with this pregnancy and postpartum and breastfeeding, the idea of a really boxy sweater intrigued me, and I signed up, and I was really lucky to be chosen. So I have been working away on that, and that has been taking up most of my time, and it's a totally selfish project. Is that what we call it? Selfish knitting, because it's for me. I don't feel like it's selfish at all. But it, you know, the sweater is for me. And yeah, so let me show you what yarn I chose and get into that. So before I show you the yarn, I wanted to tell you about what size I chose. Like I said, it's a very oversized boxy fit sweater. She recommends 8 to 12 inches of positive ease. So my bust size is a 38 inch, and that'll definitely fluctuate with breastfeeding, but I would say that's pretty typical, you know, my normal size or some chest circumference is about 38 inches. So I chose to knit the size 3, which the finished dimensions of that will be 50-inch chest circumference. I don't think I've ever knit anything this big for me. I have knit the Weekender, which I think is similar recommendation of ease, but I went down a size for that. I didn't do as boxy of a fit as Andrea recommends. So this time I went with the actual recommended chest circumference size, which should be 12 inches of positive ease. So I'm really curious what I think of this. I think I'm gonna like it, especially like I said, postpartum and just all the changes that are about to happen. I think I will actually wear this winter because I feel like I'm basically knitting a woolly sweatshirt, and that sounds extremely appealing for me. And yeah, I'm curious about this little bit of experiment to see how I like so much positive ease. So it is a bottom-up sweater. You actually start with the sleeves. And so you start at the cuff of the sleeve and you knit up, and you do both of them, and then you put those to the side, and then you cast on the bottom hem of the sweater and you knit up. So I don't feel like I'm giving anything away. If you are interested in learning more about this design, I actually really recommend that you go check out Anna's YouTube channel because she's talked about it quite extensively in a few of her episodes. And she kind of goes through the the construction of it and shows you different ways that you can wear it. She has knit 2 samples, one with 8 inches of positive ease and one with 12 inches of positive ease, and she shows you the difference in that size and what it looks like on her body. And yeah, I would definitely recommend if you're like, ooh, that sweater looks nice, I'd love to learn more about it, I would go check out her YouTube channel, because I don't want to accidentally give anything away about this, because like I said, it is a test knit. I believe it'll come out later this year. So if you are intrigued by it, just sign up for her newsletter or follow her over on YouTube and Instagram, and I'll make sure to say when it's released, but it's not for quite a while. So I am knitting this in some extremely special stash yarn. I have had this yarn, I believe, since 2018 or 2019. This is Woolly Mammoth Fiber Co. limited edition. It is in the, what did she call it? Limited edition, now I'm blanking, Cumbria yarn? Yeah, I think that's what she titled it as, but it's from Cumbria, England. I have the 4-ply, so 100 grams, 4-ply, 350 meters. And this is the Enchanted Forest colorway. It's 90% Shetland and 10% mule. So it is definitely woolly. I would say it's rustic, but to me it's not itchy at all. Definitely not like merino or superwash softness, but it's such a wonderful yarn. And originally I was thinking of knitting my Linux pullover in some knit picks that I have in stash. And then I was going through, just thinking through what I had in stash, and I remembered this yarn. And I was like, oh my goodness, it fit the criteria perfectly. It's a woolen spun, non-superwash yarn. The yardage was right, or the gauge was right, but I only had 3 skeins, and that was not going to be enough for my size. So I was like, well, I'm not, I will just have to put that on the back burner and knit a shawl with it later. But I figured, why don't I just pop on Ravelry? I love the destash search that you can go and do on there. So if you have a Ravelry account, you can look under stashes. You can type in the yarn that you're looking for. And then there's a drop-down menu, and it says, people will list it under will, trade, or sell. If somebody's looking to sell portion of their stash, or a yarn in their stash. So I figured, why not? I thought for sure there's no way. Like I said, I've had this yarn since 2018 or 2019. It was a limited edition for Woolly Mammoth, which Woolly Mammoth, I feel like already her yarn is fairly limited edition, just because it's such a special yarn. It takes a lot of time for her to prepare. She's a one-woman business, so you know, she just doesn't have as much quantity as some other dyers have. So anyways, I knew that there was probably limited to no chance that this would ever be on a Ravelry D-stash, but it was. I couldn't believe it. Somebody was looking to sell this skein in particular, which is what I already had. So I had 3 skeins already in my stash, and then somebody was looking to sell this one. And I couldn't believe it. I reached out to her. I was so excited. And then, you know, you're like, oh my goodness, if she doesn't see my message, somebody else is going to jump ahead of me and want to get it too. So I messaged her on Ravelry, and I was actually friends with her on Instagram already. And so I messaged her on Instagram too, and she was so sweet. And she was like, yeah, I am looking to sell it. And I very thankfully purchased it from her. And yeah, so now I have enough to complete this sweater. And it was so much fun to be able to pair such a special stash yarn with a really special project. I think that Anna created a beautiful design, and it's one of those pieces to me that is timeless. I don't think it would, you know, I will always want to wear it no matter what stage of life I'm in, which is huge for me because I have knit things in the past that for whichever reason I'm intrigued to it, I cast it on, I enjoy working on it, and then you finish it and it's like, either the colors are wrong, the texture's wrong, the fit is wrong, the style's wrong, a number of things. I've made a lot of knitting mistakes in the past in regards to that, of just kind of frivolous castanitis, I guess. But this project, I feel like it just looks timeless, and it looks like it would fit so well in your wardrobe for years to come. So I was really excited. It was one of those experiences where it's like you finally match the perfect yarn with the perfect project. I was able to get gauged, and working with the yarn is such a joy, especially, you know, the 2 other projects that I'm working on, mainly those socks and the hat. One is 100% acrylic, one is 100% superwash, or sorry, it's an 80-20 base. I forgot to mention that earlier. But, you know, so you just have this very smooth, round yarn, which is really nice to work on, especially in the summer here in Texas. Like, I can take those outside and not be sweltering in the heat. But there is something so special for me about working with yarn like this. This is like, you know, I guess I just feel more connected with the sheep. Is that silly to say? But this is like, this is yarn to me. This is, you know, it adds so much more to the experience for me to have a texture like this. You know, the texture running through your hands. Yeah, so anyways, that was a long tangent. I was able to magically find an extra skein in someone's stash that they wanted to part with, and as a result, I'm knitting this beautiful sweater with it. So let me show you the progress that I have. I believe I already said I'm knitting the size 3, which will be 50 inches total. This is my gauge swatch, which I am holding on to this because if for whatever reason I run out of yarn, you better believe I will I will unpick this thing and knit strand for strand from it, because it's a lot of work to not have enough yarn in the end, and there's no way I would probably ever be able to find it again. So yeah, this is my gauge swatch. I was able to get gauge, let's see, stitch wise, my stitch gauge was perfect, but my row gauge was a little bit off. I was getting less rows than you're supposed to. So I was supposed to be getting more rows, but I think quite a few of the testers were running into that problem. And, you know, Anna was super helpful, and you could cast on if you like the fabric, which I really loved the fabric of this. And then I think if there are discrepancies row gauge wise in the main body, then you can address that later whenever you do the yoke shaping. So we will see once I get there if I'm still having that problem. I did get, you know, so you have to take gauge stockinette wise, because that's what your sleeves are in, and then also for the texture, the lattice stitch that you do in the body, it's 2 different gauges. So yeah, my gauge for the stockinette was just a little bit off, but it didn't matter for the sleeves because you just cast on. This is like the most amazing sleeve construction ever. I think she's already spoke about this in her videos, but you just cast on and you knit your cuff, and then you do 1 row of increase and knit straight for the rest of the time. So this flew off my needles. I was able to do it all day, every day with the kids. I could just pick it up, knit a little bit, and throw it back down. It didn't matter where I was in the pattern. And then you just measure, and once you reach a certain number, then you're done. So I loved the sleeve construction. It was so much fun to work on. And you know, with this pattern, I think that you could cast on and then check your gauge on your sleeve and use your sleeve as a gauge swatch. I wanted to do a proper gauge swatch since I was test knitting for her. I wanted to make sure that I just did my due diligence in finding the correct gauge and needle size. So my sleeves are complete. No sleeve islands for this project, which is really nice because, you know, in the beginning you're so motivated to work on the project. You're so excited, and like you have the yarn and the needles and just can't wait to get into it. And so I feel like you have this extra motivation to work on it. And so it was nice to plow through the sleeves with that motivation and then get into the fun, more intricate, thought-provoking portion of the body. Still highly motivated, but now I don't have to do sleeves later on, which is really nice. So this pattern is knit entirely inside out. Is that how you say that? Inside out. Except for the very end, I believe, whenever you pick up the collar. So even the sleeves are knit inside out. The purl side is going to be showing whenever you complete. And then the body, so this is the inside of the body, and then once you're finished, this will be the outside. Sorry. However, Anna did show in one of her latest videos that if you do your seaming really carefully and you're conscious of it the whole time, you can make this sweater reversible. So you could make it to where this part is showing or the lattice portion is showing. So that's my goal. I don't know, you know, I'll probably finish it and still really like the lattice stitch the most because I think it is just so interesting looking that I'll probably primarily want to wear it with this side facing out, but it would be nice to have the option to do either. And I think it's always, you know, it's a good way to practice your seaming if you do just take your time and go extra careful, and I would like that challenge. So yeah, that is it. So this is the body. Like I said, it's knit bottom up, so this is the bottom hem. Yeah, it's a relaxing and meditative stitch. It did take me a few of the pattern repeats just to get the hang of it, mainly on the pattern rows that you do. I was just really conscious of my tension, and I was a little bit nervous that I was pulling too tight or pulling too loose. But now that I've kind of gotten in the rhythm of it, I I find that my tension just comes easily, and now that I'm in it and I'm like, oh, okay, yes, this looks like how the pattern is supposed to look like, that has given me a lot of confidence. And yeah, so this has been taking up the majority of my knitting time, especially early mornings and late evenings. This is what I gravitate towards, and I love to just slow down and feel the yarn. It was funny whenever I first started knitting the sleeves, I feel like it was taking me a little while because I kept stopping to admire the yarn. So now that I've kind of gotten over that and only stop sometimes to admire it, I am making good progress on it. So yeah, and I think it's gonna fit really nice. I have tried it on a bigger cable and put it on me just because I was kind of curious, and I do have, you know, a 5-month pregnant belly, so it's kind of funny to try sweaters on, but it made me really excited for the finished piece. Like I said, it's basically like you're knitting a big woolly sweatshirt, and I am so excited to have that in my wardrobe. So I still have been doing good about not purchasing yarn. I did buy this last month the coordinating mini skeins to go with that really fun Halloween sock that I'm creating out of the PNW Pearls Co yarn. She actually has mini skeins that go with the specific colorways, and I did not realize that when I bought the full skeins, and I just couldn't find anything that compared to that yarn in my stash. So I was able to get on her Etsy shop and buy just the mini skeins, which was really fun to do, and made me look forward to purchasing from her again in the future. But I wanted to purchase mini skeins because with the Knit Picks FELICI yarn that I knit their birthday socks with, I was left with very, very little yarn, and so I knew with this one it would probably be a good idea for me to knit the cuff in a coordinating color rather than just start it with the full skein, because I was cutting it pretty close on those birthday socks, so I needed a little bit more wiggle room to play with that. So I went ahead and got some of those contrast colors, and it's so much fun how well they match up with the other stripes. So yeah, but other than that, I've been doing good. I bought the Naughty Pine Fiber Co. advent calendar that she had listed, so I'm really excited for that. That'll come next fall. And then I mentioned earlier that some makers over on Instagram are hosting a knit along for Knitting Nelly. So I will put the hashtag here of what the Instagram knit along hashtag is. I think it's ran exclusively on Instagram, and then how it works is if you meet certain criteria, you fill out a Google form. So there's tons of information over on Instagram. I haven't really figured it out yet, and I'm not there yet because I haven't even cast on my project with it, but I wanted to show you what I was intending to make. I have had her A-frame socks pattern, and it's this really pretty, just super simple sock pattern that has almost like little triangles at the top with bobbles, and so it's supposed to look like an A-frame, or like like an A-frame house that you would see in Colorado or something. So I am planning on knitting my daughter her first pair of socks, and I am going to make them out of these really pretty colors. This is, ooh, I almost dropped it. This is Little Lionhead Knits in her Road Trip colorway, which I actually purchased last summer and caked up with the intention of making socks with, but then I just left it in my stash for a while. And then I will put the dyer's name up here of what this is because it has completely escaped my mind. But this is the yarn that I knit my Hudel Bear shawl for Fiber Tales out of. I test knit that for her quite a few years ago, and I used this absolutely stunning, like chestnut brown colorway. And I believe, you know what, it might be Swift Yarns. I'm not sure. I'm just going to put the dyer's name, and then if I can find the colorway name for you, I'm going to write that. So this is going to be the main color, and then I think that this will be my little triangles and baubles. So yeah, I'm really excited to cast that on. I went ahead and I went over to woolencompany.com and I purchased an extra set of the 9-inch US 1 Chiaogus because I've been thinking about getting another pair of them for a while. If anything, so I could knit 2 pairs of socks at the same time. Like, you know, I could knit one boy's Halloween socks and one boy's Christmas socks at the same time. Or in this instance, where I really want to cast this on for the knit along, it would be nice to have 2 sets. So that should be coming this week. In that order, I did purchase some yarn. So with all of my children, I've knit them little BRIAR bunnies, and I knit it out of Quince & Co. Owl yarn. So for this little one, I needed to get a skein of that so that they can have a matching bunny. And I will be sure to show those off in the future because they're so cute, and I couldn't leave this little one out and they don't have a bunny. So I went ahead and purchased a skein of the Quince & Co. Owl to create a bunny for them. So yeah, so that should be coming in the mail this week. I'm excited for that. I'll probably wait to cast that on for a little while to get some of these other whips done. But yeah, that's coming up soon, I think. The only other acquisitions I did have were these really cute baskets. This is from my friend Laura of the Back Porch Fiber Co. She recently released oval baskets. So hopefully I can show you without the yarn falling out. But it's like the perfect size for little trinkets or just like a small project, which is exactly what I wanted to use it for. When I saw that she was getting these, I was like, oh, sign me up. I need a few of those. I know a homespun house. She used to sell them when she lived in America, and they look almost identical. And I always wanted them, but I just never really bit the bullet and purchased them back then. But then whenever my friend Laura started selling them, I was like, yes, I do need those. So I got quite a few different kinds. I got 4 total. This one's kind of fun. It's like more narrow and oval. So this would be a fun sock project thing. You know what could almost fit in this? Like one of my daughter's baby dolls. I just thought of that. She left one down here during her nap. Look at that. Well, this baby is a little too big, but she has some of those smaller ones. Oh man, if I showed her that, she would go crazy. She has been loving baby dolls, anything, and she would think that is so fun if I told her she could have that as a baby basket. And then here's the third one, and then finally this one I actually decided to use as my trinkets. This is exactly what I was wanting it for. So I have all my scissors, rulers, these really great barber cords that you can slip onto your needle and actually try your sweater on without having to deal with taking it onto a longer needle. So yeah, this has been really great because I feel like I constantly need a pair of scissors or darning needles or a tape measure, and I hate to leave those in my project bags and baskets because inevitably my daughter always finds them, and I have had to purchase so many tape measures because somehow she breaks them. So now it's nice. I have a little trinket tray for it. I keep it stashed away in my yarn cupboard, and then she can't get a hold of anything. So yeah, so I think that's all I have to share with you today. Thank you so much for spending time with me, and once again, thank you for being patient with me the last few months, especially with my lack of correspondence over on the comments. I really hope to be able to return to that quickly now that I am feeling a lot better, and I would love to hear from you in the comments below. just any insight or opinions that you have about what I've been creating, but also I'd love to hear what you're creating as well. So yeah, I hope that you are having a great May and that the weather is nice wherever you are, that you were able to get some crafting done during this time, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!